Hello everyone, Squared Circle Wrestling is back with another episode which includes Drew McIntyre walking out from WWE. WWE fans left distracted and stunned as Bayley's insane outfit at Backlash stole the show. WWE veteran blasts at Tony Khan, calls him a man-child. Details on Shawn Michaels' backstage fight with former tag team champion. Major AEW star claims John Laurinaitis enjoyed firing him from WWE. WWE veteran calls Goldberg's retirement tour a horrible idea, and much more. You can check the complete list with time chapters in the description box below. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel for all the latest news. Our top story for today looks at Drew McIntyre walking out from WWE. Drew McIntyre's WWE contract is set to expire in early 2024, and as per the latest reports from Fightful Select, it seems that the Scottish Warrior is on his way out of the company. It was noted, Drew McIntyre's WWE contract is set to expire at the end of 2023, but a new report has said that McIntyre is working with the idea there's a good chance he's finishing up with WWE. Fightful Select also reported that Drew McIntyre has been frustrated with the company. There was said to have been frustration in several situations of not being on the same page with WWE. McIntyre, who is usually told about draft plans ahead of time, was one of several left out of the loop until he was announced as a Raw talent on television. There have been several perceived miscommunications between Drew and the company over the past couple of years. Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio also stated that Drew McIntyre may leave WWE whenever his contract is over. He said, "They could turn Drew McIntyre heel and especially with him possibly leaving. That's probably the best move and then have him in a program with whichever of the two, Cody or Seth Rollins, they want to be as the #1 guy in the brand for a while." It is said that Drew McIntyre and WWE failed to come to common ground while discussing the new contract. After leaving the company, it is speculated that Drew will be joining Tony Khan's AEW. Next up, Saraya speaks on CM Punk's AEW controversy. Current AEW superstar Saraya spoke on CM Punk and his AEW Backstage controversy in a recent interview with BBC Norfolk. Here is what the former WWE Divas champion said. "I said this before with Punk, he's always been an absolute sweetheart to me. He's been very helpful, given a lot of advice over the years, since basically near the beginning of when I was in WWE. And then coming into AEW, he had reached out to me and it's just like, if you need anything, he's just really awesome." She added, "I feel like, if people don't like each other, you have to find that common ground in a professional setting. I've never let my personal feelings get in the way of business at the end of the day." Next up, WWE veteran blasts at Tony Khan, calls him a man-child. Former Raw General Manager Eric Bischoff on his Strictly Business podcast criticized Tony Khan in light of recent events. He said, "Tony is a man-child. I mean, look, I didn't see the report from ESPN. I don't know who the reporter is. And I did see Tony's response, and once again, Tony, do yourself a favor to your company. Stay away from a camera. Stay away. Put out a press release. Have a spokesperson, better yet have a spokesperson do whatever it is you need to do to keep yourself away from anything that looks like a red light. If you see a red light, leave the area as fast as you can. Because every time Tony Khan steps in front of the camera, he makes his brand looks childish and silly." Bischoff also criticized Tony Khan for mentioning up WWE CEO's name. "I think what Tony did in responding in that childish way that he does consistently is he lessened it. He should have laughed, instead of saying Nick Khan did it. But it's childish, it's juvenile, and he's actually taking away from his accomplishment and reacting that way." Next up, Dave Meltzer reacts to historic AEW All-In ticket sales. The AEW All-In show is set to take place on August 27th at Wembley Stadium in London with more than 90,000 attendance capacity. The show is still months away and no matches have been announced yet. Still, AEW All-In had exploded its ticket sale to over 60,000 sold tickets. Dave Meltzer on a recent episode of Wrestling Observer Radio reacts on AEW All-In record-shattering ticket sale. "It is ahead of SummerSlam 1992. It's ahead of WrestleMania 3, ahead of every other WrestleMania except for Dallas. It's an incredible story. You go back to the start, this is the movie. Because it's not all positive. The idea of what the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes started. Then the meeting with Tony Khan, and the building of this company, and getting to this date with Cody gone and all of the stuff that happened in the last year. It's an incredible story. It is gigantic. It is historical and all that. It doesn't mean this is a turnaround, or it's all smooth sailing. If they get a great television deal, then it's all smooth sailing." Next up, WWE veteran calls Goldberg's retirement tour a horrible idea. Former Universal Champion Bill Goldberg is now a free agent. Goldberg in a recent interview shared his desire of having a retirement tour before finally hanging up his boots. Former Raw GM Eric Bischoff, on his 83 Weeks podcast, shut the idea down immediately and calls it a horrible one. He said, "There's not generations of Bill Goldberg fans out there. There are generations of Ric Flair fans out there. Ric Flair is arguably as popular today in many respects. Bill, comparatively speaking, has been in the business for 5 minutes when you compare him to someone like Ric Flair. I hope he gets a lot of money up front, let's just put it that way. I don't want to see a lesser version of Bill Goldberg get back into the ring and again. If he doesn't need the money, and I can't imagine that he does. I don't know why he'd do it, I just wish he wouldn't do it. Here's the other thing. You want to be remembered for being at your peak. Next up, details on Shawn Michaels' backstage fight with former tag team champion. Former WWE superstar Shane Douglas, in an interview with Wrestling Shoot Interviews, recalled witnessing a real-life fight between former tag team partners Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty in the locker room. He said, "Well, Shawn does his thing and walks off. So, of course, to sell it, Marty's being tended to and all that. So, Shawn gets back a lot quicker than Marty does. And when you walk to this dressing room, you get these wooden open lockers. So, I'm sitting at mine and Perfect is right across from me. To the right was the bathroom, the toilets, and there was a whiteboard. Brett would always draw his infamous comics on the thing, and Shawn's bag was right below the whiteboard. So, he comes walking in, goes over to his bag, and several minutes later, boom, like hard, somebody comes slamming through the door. It's Marty. Marty looks at me, looks at Kurt, looks at Shawn and goes, 'You motherf,' and starts across the room." Douglas added, "He gets 4 or 5 feet from him and Shawn goes, and just falls down like there's that lamb that like when it gets scared it just falls over. And he goes down and curls up in a ball, and Marty gets over to him and like looking, and so he puts his hand against the whiteboard and smudges the thing later, and he starts putting the boots to him. And I looked at Kurt, I went, 'Should we stop it? I've never seen this. I don't know, are they ribbing or what's going on?' And Kurt looking like confused. And that was the end of it. And the reason that happened was when Marty got back to the gorilla position, Vince said to him, 'Marty, we'll be in touch in a couple months if we have something for you.'" Next up, Carlito is open to whatever following WWE Backlash appearance. Former Intercontinental Champion Carlito returned to WWE at Backlash on Saturday night, helping Bad Bunny and Latino World Order stave off an attack from Judgment Day. While his comeback was one-off appearance, it has gathered huge fan attention. When asked about returning full-time to WWE, he said, "Yeah, I'm open to whatever, any good offer from anywhere, it doesn't matter. Thing is, nobody calls me so I don't sit by the phone either. If something comes up, great. If not, I keep doing what I'm doing." Next up, backstage tension over signing Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows to WWE. Recently on the Comedy Store Wrestling podcast, NJPW star Rocky Romero explained there was a lot of tension backstage about Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows signing to WWE. He said, "Yeah, there was definitely a lot of tension, knowing where everybody stood, and obviously trying to stay true to our partners at AEW. Obviously, their major competitor is WWE, right? So I'm trying to navigate the waters and stay neutral in some position. Also knowing it was important to get the Good Brothers, especially Karl Anderson, back to New Japan so he could defend the title. It was super stressful in the beginning. I had some conversations with some people in WWE I'd never had talks with before, some very important people, to get that done. And I gotta say, Triple H was super cool in the whole situation." Romero also mentioned that it was WWE's chief content officer Triple H who made it happen. He didn't have to do that, and I don't think the Good Brothers had anything in writing that they necessarily had to do that. I think Triple H, just kinda respecting what New Japan is and having respect for the culture, and having respect for the wrestling business in general, was really open to working it out. Next up, WWE clarifies status of Undisputed Tag Team Championships following drafts. WWE has created a separate New World title for Raw brand, making Roman Reigns and his Undisputed Universal Championship exclusive to SmackDown brand, and the newly created World Heavyweight Championship, which will be a Raw exclusive title, with the new champion to be crowned at Night of Champions pay-per-view. However, during Backlash, WWE acknowledged that the Undisputed Tag Team Championship, currently held by Raw superstars Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, can be defended on either brand, meaning that Owens and Zayn can travel to both shows and defend the title on each brand. Next up, top WWE stable says they are ready to take on Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Speaking to Steve Fall, former United States Champion and current Judgment Day member Damian Priest spoke about a possible feud between the Bloodline and Judgment Day. He said, "Absolutely, I mean the Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw. The Bloodline, I'll give them their due, they've run SmackDown. Put us together and that's dynamic, this is magic. I've been wanting this for a long time and I'm not shy about it, but where Roman Reigns at?" Next up, major AEW star claims John Laurinaitis enjoyed firing him from WWE. AEW superstar Matt Hardy, speaking on his podcast, The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, recalled having issues with John Laurinaitis over the years, also mentioning that Laurinaitis enjoyed his firing from the company. He said, "John Laurinaitis and we had a lot of issues. I felt like whenever he called to release me in 2005, I felt like he was getting a little bit of enjoyment out of it because he's like, this guy clashed with me and he questioned my judgment." Hardy added, "He was ultimately the bad guy for Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon doesn't need to give people the bad news. That's John Laurinaitis' job. so that's a tough job. It's a very thankless job in many ways, too. So at the end of the day, I've had my issues with John Laurinaitis, but I'm okay with John Laurinaitis now, and I'm fine with him. I have respect for him. Next up, WWE fans left distracted and stunned as Bayley's insane outfit at Backlash stole the show. It seems that WWE superstar Bayley had stole the entire Backlash show, as the fans are left buzzing about her unique outfit at Backlash pay-per-view. Bayley's fantastic outfit was standout and a major attraction to the audience at the pay-per-view. With an eye on the Raw Women's Championship, Io Sky battled with Bianca Belair at WWE Backlash. The former NXT Women's Champion had no shortage of support during her match as the Damage Control stablemates came to ringside hoping to help their member secure the gold. While Sky lost the match, it was the leader of Damage Control, Bayley, who surprised WWE fans with her amazing outfit. And that is all for today's news. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Squared Circle Wrestling for all the latest updates.